City Council to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Present.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons. Yes. Davis. Kaiser.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on to the agenda for this evening. Everyone's had a copy of that. Is there any additions or corrections to tonight's agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
And is there a second? Second. It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Visitors you'd like to recognize, Mr. Crane? Anybody? Okay.
This time.
So we'll move on to communication requests. Number one, presentation from Jeff Arp.
Yes, Jeff Arp from Murmah is here to present the Safety Grant Awards for this year.
No.
Can you hear me? Yep. Awesome. Like the mayor said, my name is Jeff Harp. Mr. Crane said, my name is Jeff Harp. I'm one of the loss control consultants with Murmah. Murmah is the self-insurance pool that the city's been a member of for several years. We provide our members with a comprehensive coverage packet that includes property and casualty coverage, auto liability, work comp, employment practice, and other coverages prudent for cities within our association. We also process and handle your claims, and we also spend a lot of time and effort promoting the best practices of risk management. You know, we do that through seminars, our annual meeting, our newsletter. I'm required to make multiple on-site visits every year, and we also go through the loss control evaluation process that covers 6 pages and over 100 different items. We also have multiple reimbursement programs to help educate our members through the best practices in risk management. And one of the programs that we have is this reimbursement program that provides funding for safety equipment that the city's identified a need for, and also meets within our mission statement. This past year, we received 2 applications from the police department. They were approved for the following: dash cam, $3,012, and less lethal rounds for $460.50. In total, $3,472 was awarded to the police department. I'd like to thank Chief Link and his department for taking the time to fill out the applications and getting this money up here, and hope to be back in this time next year to do this all over again. So thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to present that now.
Cheese.
Come on, Chuck. How many you need? All right, moving on to number 2, request for the Cowboys for Christmas Parade. I think we had this at the work session. If anyone had any questions, any further questions? Mr. Crane, any comment?
Nope, this is for the annual event on November 7th, and if there's any questions, I think Jeremy might be here. Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, I see he's here. Well, if there's not any questions, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Been motioned and then seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, Mr. Crane, resignation city clerk.
Yes, last week, City Clerk Kay Galloway gave our resignation to the city after 44 years, and wanted to recognize her, and we'll do something formal at the next meeting.
All right, very well. All right, moving on to ordinances and resolutions, moving to number 4, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have an ordinance amending section 42-293 relating to sewers.
All right, there's a motion to read the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance amending section 42-293 relating to sewers.
Questions about the ordinance? Hearing none. Second reading.
An ordinance amending section 42-293 relating to sewers.
All right. For the second reading, any further discussion of the proposed ordinance? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? It's been motioned and then seconded by Mr. Davis. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey?
Yes?
Brubaker?
Yes.
Simmons? Davis?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
All right. Motion carries. Ordinance is passed. Moving on to number 5, an ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance amending section 3 of ordinance number 9616.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second? It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance amending section 3 of ordinance number 9616.
All right. You've heard the reading of the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, second reading.
An ordinance amending section 3 of ordinance number 9616.
All right, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Any final discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Brubaker?
Yes.
Simmons?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Jeffrey?
Yes. All right. Motion carries. Ordinance is passed. Moving on to number 6, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance approving the First Amendment to the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Moberly, Missouri and the local 2671 International Association of Firefighters. I ask that it be read twice for passage.
Very well, there's a motion. Is there a second? Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First reading, please.
An ordinance approving the First Amendment to the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Moberly, Missouri and the local 2671 International Association of Firefighters.
All right, you've heard the first reading. Any discussion? Hearing none. Second reading.
An ordinance approving the First Amendment to the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Moberly, Missouri and the local 2671 International Association of Firefighters.
All right, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Been motioned. Is there a second? Motion and seconded. Roll call, please.
Simmons?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Brubaker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution is passed, or the ordinance is passed. Moving on to number 7, a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution authorizing and accepting change order number 3 to the contract with Willis Brothers, Inc. for the Harrison and Garfield project at US 1.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution authorizing and accepting change order number 3 to the contract with Willis Brothers, Inc. for the Harrison and Garfield project.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Resolution is approved. Moving on to number 8, a resolution appropriating money.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the City of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $324,541.74, and I move to have it read for passage.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second? And it's seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the City of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $324,541.74.
I hereby certify that there is sufficient money standing to the credit of the City of Moberly, Missouri, unappropriated in the several funds covered by this resolution to meet the requirements of this resolution. submitted Gregory L. Hodge, City Treasurer. Is there any discussion of the appropriation resolution? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? And a second.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution passed. Okay. So we will move on to official reports and number 9, report from the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, Mayor, that report has been filed, and Michelle's here if you have any questions or need any additional information.
All right, so we'll open that up. Anything you want to say? I mean, you have a very good report, very detailed.
Yeah, so I think we had 7 hotel stays from the event from vendors, so that was good to see. Our hotels have a little trouble tracking, so we don't know if actual attendees attended, but I think the biggest thing to note is seeing how our businesses downtown and even the ones that aren't downtown were impacted by this event. So that, I think in a year like this, if that keeps them afloat and keeps them in our community, I think it was worth it for us to have this event. So just some really awesome comments from vendors. We didn't hear any really thing negative from vendors. We needed more bathrooms and more things like that, but we're excited for next year and already planning bigger and better. So do you guys have any other questions?
Michelle, do we have a cost on this to the chamber or to the city?
How much it takes for us to plan it, or the city, or what do you?
Do we have a total cost of what we put out to put this event on? I mean, I know there's no way of really figuring out how much money it brought in, but do we have a ballpark figure on how much money it cost us?
It's probably $3,000 ish, maybe a little bit more than that. We recoup a lot of the cost from vendors, so that's how we kind of make most of our money. We did a commercial this year, which was very expensive. Commercials are not cheap, but that actually got us a lot of traffic from out of the area. So,
Mr. Crane, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, Councilman, we also, I believe, issued a grant through the Downtown Community Improvement District that helped with some marketing and other dollars. And I can't remember how much, is maybe
Yeah.
1,000 or 2?
yeah, and most of the event, I mean, the chamber, we fund the bill. The city, your guys' is only the CID, I think, paid for maybe $1,000 or something like that, maybe a little more. But
So, if I understand correctly, you all did not apply for a tourism funding grant for
Right.
the chamber event itself?
right, yes, not this year. We definitely will, probably next year, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I think, I'm sorry, Mr. Kimmons, go right ahead.
No, I was just gonna compliment you on the demographics that you did on it. I think it's one of the best information coming back from the event that we've had.
Right. So what we do with that is we just do a little giveaway, and we get them to write down their information and where they're from. So we did have, I personally heard Cape Girardeau, Quincy, Illinois. We had Kansas there as well. So it did draw a lot of people.
I want to say that when Megan Schmidt was talking to us about this, she did show us a preliminary income and expense statement on this event. But I think for future reference, it would be good, even for this one, to have kind of a final income statement so that we
Right.
have a perspective on what was spent and then
Okay.
who all is giving and so on and so
Right.
forth. Not that, I mean, the tourism grant's the tourism grant. but
Right.
I think it's just a good idea to see
Yeah.
that.
And next year, we've seen this, event just grow very rapidly in 3 years. So next year we will be looking for a sponsor to hopefully cover the majority of this event, because it is just becoming so large, and we definitely want a sponsor to be able to put their name out there a little bit more. So
Okay. Anyone else?
I agree on, I think we ought to be tracking the expenses as opposed to income and revenue. but, I mean, I'm not opposed to it even if it's a negative,
Right.
cash flow.
No, it is
I think it's
positive.
well worth it, what, I mean.
Right.
And if I might, Councilman, the reason why you all don't see any incoming expenses, because this is a chamber event funded with a sponsorship by the Downtown Community Improvement District. So there's no, the council doesn't put any money in on this project, so that's why it's probably not the most important thing that we bring to you is somebody else's expenses.
But, and I understand that.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, we do send funds to the chamber every year, a substantial amount of money to the chamber. And so, I mean, when we say we're not directly funding this event, we are funding the chamber. So, I mean, I would like to, I'd just like to see what.
Yeah,
Right.
no, we
Right.
can. I'm just saying that's why we don't ask for that type of information because it's something we just don't look at.
I think when your reports are like, Mayor, I'd like to see it in your report if they do.
Well,
Okay.
we, especially if you're going to apply to the tourism, I mean, we are ultimately responsible for those funds.
Right.
And so have some perspective, because you'll have to report it for that application
Right.
if you go by those particular rules of the
Right.
funding mechanism of the tourism. But, I mean, ultimately, we are responsible for the CID too. I mean, it is the city of Moberly and the city businesses. But I understand why we don't see a balance sheet of it just automatically. But anyway, anyone else? Mr. Brubaker?
I don't have a question, I was just gonna make a comment. First off, I'm not a morning person, so I got down there about 1:30. And I was surprised, though, how many people were down there, still down there,
Right.
in the afternoon. And I know I went into one of the local restaurants hoping to get something to eat and halfway eat. So I went to a
Right.
different one downtown, but it was amazing how many people were downtown.
Yes, and they did linger till about 4:30. The event ended, at 5, but they were there till about 4:30. So, it was a good day, I think. So,
And I know the local JCs had a booth there.
yes,
They had a really nice fundraiser that
yes, they did. So we're definitely hoping to incorporate more of that too in our local civic organizations into this event. And if this can be a fundraiser for them, I think it'd be a great opportunity because it's just hard for if 5,000 people come.
That's a signal, but you're done. I'm just kidding.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, so that's all that's on the agenda. If there's anyone in the audience that has an issue to bring to the council that has a card, or Councilman Mr. Kaiser has an issue he'd like to raise.
Yeah, I've got one question, and that is regarding the sidewalks on Moberly Street. There are a lot of holes, where, we've done the sidewalk, and then there's a large space, and we're now past, I think we're up to like McDonald's now, but we're going all the way back to the towers where there's still all these holes, and I'm concerned about the safety, because I was driving down there late the other night and almost hit somebody who's walking down the street because the sidewalk's closed. My question is, why are the holes still there? And what are we doing to rectify that as soon as possible?
There's a 2-inch water main on the west side of the street, and so what they're doing is part of the contract is the water utilities is running new lines over. The subcontractor of the main contractor is doing it, not the city contract or city employees. But that's what the opening is, and so they have been, subcontractor ran the lines over there, and they have to make the connection points, and that's what all the gaps are. They can't put the sidewalk until they get those connection points. So we have had multiple meetings with them. I've had the engineer on site, and we can't direct them as far as the work on the job. The only thing we can do on a MoDOT project or something like that is they have to meet the end deadline. So we have been very strict on when this is. We've encouraged them to try to get back there and get that done, and we've met with them, like say, on site a couple times. The water line contractor was supposed to be back there this week. I thought I saw him working on one of them there today, so to get those connected. But that's what the holdup is. They can't build the sidewalk back until they get those connections made for that water line.
And next question is, what is that end date?
I had a mark on my calendar. It's 2 weeks from this coming Wednesday for substantial completion. So, and I think there's a few extra days because we did some island work up at the north end where they'll be crossing through those islands that MoDOT approved. And so that might add like another 10 days on it. So we're probably around 3-4 weeks tops.
Are the islands going to be done after the deadline, or?
No, there was some days added for the additional work. So that's, the deadline originally for the project was 2 weeks out from Wednesday. So I think they're going to get another 10 working days beyond that for the islands. So it'd be, it'd be 4 weeks from, 4 weeks from Wednesday.
So why would we not make them hold to the original deadline for going down Moberly and then give them the extension for the islands?
What work they complete, you know, it's still, it moves the end. That's the way it works with MoDOT. It just moves the goalpost when they get extra work. That adds the time frame that they have for substantial completion.
Well, my biggest concern is the safety, because like I said, I've had a number of people tell me they've almost hit.
I absolutely agree with you.
personally almost hit
I
somebody.
absolutely agree with you. We've met with them. I can show you dozens of emails and where we've met on site with them, pressing them. But I mean, again, there's no repercussions I can do on them. The deadline at the end project is all I can do. They are responsible for the safety on the site through the construction of the project.
So my next one is, Rimley promised to be working on the striping in downtown in 2 weeks. That 2 weeks today is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There's not been any start, or do we have an update on what
Yes, I was talking with him yesterday and today both, and so he has the equipment, the grinder, they're picking it up, and they'll be starting out tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. He was gonna start today, but the equipment he needed wasn't available, and so, because they promised, but he's picking up it's a diamond grinder that they'll be taking off the old stripes. He's gonna start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in front of the block where the 4th Street Theater, we're moving stripes, and so he'll work on that throughout the night to get that all the striping ground off and cleaned off, and then start back on restriping.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn to work session followed by the closed session. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Hammond, Davis,
Yes.
Kaiser.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. So we are adjourned from regular session, and we'll now move to the work session and the work session agenda. And as soon as I get this. Okay, so we'll move on. Number 1 on the work session is a request from Citizen for Stop Sign, which we went through at the last work session. I don't know why would that be on again. Oh, another one. Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake.
Vinsel and Walnut.
But either way, the requesting party in her comments to us in an email, which she sent the request, was stating that, you know, it's a speed issue, clearly a speed issue, that she's worried about through there. It's not a, you know, stop sign. I can give you right out of MoDOT's application book of where stop signs are supposed to be. They're a traffic control device, not a speed control. So there are numerous instances where you put a stop sign in where it's unwarranted, it speeds up traffic down to the next half block down where cars are speeding back up beyond that. So that's the sole purpose of this location. So I can't speak for the police department, but that would be our recommendation to follow MoDOT's guidelines and say not use a stop sign for it.
Okay, so do we need to wait for report from PD or?
It's in there. I'm sorry. I dropped my computer, so I lost my.
Yeah, it's in your.
Okay, and can you summarize that? Because I don't recall seeing it. Okay. All right, so I understand the recommendation. Anyone comments or questions of
I have a question.
Mr. Kaiser?
So, are they looking to have the stop sign on Walnut, or is the stop sign on Vinsel? Oh, they want a 4-way stop? Okay. Oh, wow, okay. My last question was, I did drive down Vinsel Street, and you've got the side streets, there are no stop signs at all. My question, I meant to look it up in the thing, the rules, was, if I'm on Walnut, is there anything requiring me to stop?
Yes. You've approached an uncontrolled intersection. My understanding
does that include if I'm driving down Vincent? Doesn't matter, so I control the intersection from both directions. Okay, fair enough.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, so unless there's consensus that you want to have a stop sign, then we would not move that forward to the next meeting.
I would not support a four-way stop.
Okay, so I'm not hearing anything else, so we will not move that forward. And we'll move on to number 2, a request from Jamie Shirk.
Yes, this is the 5K. It's the normal route as last year. And I don't think Jamie's here. No. The YMCA took this over, I
Yeah.
think, last year or 2 years ago, but they're wanting to do it again this year. Starting there, it looks like right across the street from Central Bank. And then
Okay.
looping through the park and then coming back. So we've reviewed this and are recommending to move it forward.
I guess, any questions about this? Mr. Bach, I guess I have one, is that this is like an early morning run, is it not? So how long is the park closed? Or is it closed? Okay, so you just put up some notices, you don't have to close the whole park down, just for someone to have a run? Right, okay. All right, anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, hearing none, we will move that forward to the next regular session and move on to number 3, request from Moberly Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, this request was received on the December 5th date is when they're going to have the parade this year. And it's the standard loop around downtown, and Public Safety's reviewed this and is recommending we move it forward.
All right, questions about the parade? All right, does anyone have a problem moving that forward? All right, hearing no opposition, that will move forward to the next meeting. And we'll move on next to receipt of bids.
So this is a budgeted item in the current budget year. As you may recall, we did one roof, which was the maintenance shop at the complex last year. That was due to hail damage. These 3 are just a maintenance item. It didn't qualify last year under the insurance claim. But these 3 are a maintenance need. They're at the end of their life, and it is a budgeted item. The low bid is Beaverson, so we're recommending that one move forward. It is less than what we budgeted. I believe we budgeted $22,000. So this will fall within that.
All right, questions about the roofing or the bids of the roofing?
How old are these, Mr. Barker? How old is this roof?
Sorry?
How old is the roof?
20 years. So the complex was built in 2000, and it's original.
Didn't realize it was that old. Okay.
All right, anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, hearing no opposition, we'll move that forward to the next meeting. Move on to receipt of bids for Sugar Creek Dam mitigation.
Yes, this is the bid preparation for the grout project at Sugar Creek Lake Dam. The contractor has asked us to actually extend the date for the bid opening. We had hoped to have that for you by this meeting, but they, due to some complexities of the project, have asked for a little bit more time to figure bids. We hope, right now, the bid opening is actually scheduled for the 13th at 2 o'clock, and then we will get those bids to you by the Thursday before the next council meeting. If you have questions, in the bid, or in your packets, are the advertisement for bids, the contract, and the specifications for the project.
Questions for Ms. Calcagno? Anyone? Anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, thank you very much. Hearing no opposition, we'll move that forward to the next meeting. Move on to amendment to financial services agreement.
All right. So the next agenda item is for the financial services agreement with the former Piper Jaffray. They are our financial advisor for the city. They do not get paid unless we actually do a bond issue. They do advise us throughout the years as we get ready to go into those agreements with the state or whoever we would do a bond issue with. So they actually serve as that third-party advisor to the city.
Questions? If I read that correctly, you're asking to extend the current agreement for 3 more years, is that right?
Yes.
So, that would be just to advise for 3 more years, because I mean, if I understood right, the vote that we just had to issue, new debt, that's gonna be through the state revolving fund. So they would not be advising and underwriting, correct?
No, they do not.
They cannot, I mean,
Right.
right. I just wanna make sure what, when you say advising the city and all that, because you're saying they don't get paid for the advisory unless we're doing a,
Right, exactly.
okay, just wanted to understand exactly what part we were talking about. Questions, anyone? Thank you. Anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, hearing no opposition, we'll move that forward. And we'll move on to a resolution accepting a quitclaim deed.
This is just a small, I don't know if we got a map of it or not. It's a small property down on Windsor Street, Dead End Street, off of Fisk Avenue. The house is probably 75% fallen down, and so it's part of one of the ones we're going to be cleaning up, and this is just accepting the donation a lot. There we'll have a clean title for that, so we could, do something for possible redevelopment.
Questions, anyone? So is this going to be part of the CDBG grant? Or
Yes.
So it will roll into that, so we won't have to pay for any potential asbestos abatement or anything if you find that in.
The grant work is what is going to cover that anyhow. So what we're
Right,
gonna have
so the grant will cover it, we won't.
Are we doing title searches on these, or? Okay.
Anybody else, question? Anybody opposed to moving that forward for approval? All right, hearing none, we'll move that forward. Mr. Crane, you had a comment?
Well, I just wanted to mention, if you're done with that subject, before we adjourn, Cora Wooden is here tonight. She's our new deputy city clerk, and just like to welcome her.
All right, welcome. Okay, so if there's not any other issues from out in the audience, then we'll ask for a motion to adjourn from the work session and move to closed session. Is there a motion to that effect?
I so move.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you all.